back on this black holster, and what I need to do, this is the old strap, and what I need to do is I need to skive back. Probably, I need to get at least 3/4 of an inch, I think. This is the new strap that's going to go in. And then after, it's nice soft leather, so I think it's going to be okay. And I think my best way to do that is with my safety skiver. I think I just put a blade in that. So I don't necessarily need to measure it. I'll just kind of guesstimate it. This is obviously the front where it's still got some black on it. I don't know that you can see that in the camera. So I want to skive on the back. And I think the best way, I use this as a buck. I use this for wet forming. Mostly like Leatherman tool pouches and such. These are for the big size Leathermans. The, what do they call them? The Surge, I think is one of them. Out of the bigger size. But to skive this, I think, because it's not very long, it's about all the more I can get out. And I can't get in anything to hold on to it. So I think my best bet is going to be to go probably with this, and with the curve of the safety skiver, and kind of keep myself out, and just carefully I think that's got it. So hopefully you can tell here, kind of just skived it down to nothing, and I'm going to have to figure out just how long I need this piece. So I'll stick that in. And it should go to about there. This is just going to be, I'm feeling down here is where the trigger guard in this strap goes down to where the trigger guard rests in the holster. So I'm going to push the existing piece down that far. I'm going to have to buy myself a Luger blue gun. They do make one. That is really, that's why I keep a flashlight fairly close, so that I can see down in these things. The closest thing I've got that comes to a Luger is a Ruger Mark I. And some people say they were kind of modeled after the Luger. I don't believe that, but I want that. I'll grab a pen. When you look down in there, you can kind of see how far down it goes. And I might err on the side of being a little long. I think. I know you probably can't see down in there. Maybe you can, if I hold it just right. The existing strap is right here, and that's right about where the trigger guard goes to. And this is the new strap, so this is the end of the old strap. Yeah, you can't see it, but the end of the old strap and the new strap is right here. So I'm going to kind of make a little bit of a mark there. Can't see that. Just something that I can make some kind of a mark with. Did that work out? Yep, I can see that. Whew. Alright, so I know you didn't see much of that, but I was able to make a mark right here, and that's where the end of that strap comes to. I'm going to add maybe an inch to that measurement before I do my skive. Let's measure how much of a skive I got here. Almost 3/4 of an inch right on the money there. So I'll add an inch and then 3/4. And that will be where I cut. Now I'm going to have to go back 3/4 of an inch. And just make a mark. And that's where I'll skive. Now I skived on the back of this strap, so I want to skive the front of this one. That looks pretty darn good right there. Now I've got to let this sit and dry because I just some reason it feels kind of wet, and it might be the oil. I will glue this, and the only reason I'm going to glue it is because I feel a need to glue it. I will put marks, make some stitch holes in it. I will use this to back it, my buck again, because I have to put something behind it to make those stitch holes. I'll try to put 2 rows of stitching in it, and I'm ready to put this piece and attach it to the piece inside the holster. One thing you gotta remember when you're doing a repair like this, it has to go through this slot before you stick it together. Make sure you have it the right direction. I've got to go through the slot, and then it's going to have to turn back on itself. So let's go. The glue is pretty well dry, so we're all ready to take care of this. I know you're not going to be able to see everything I'm doing, but that's probably okay. I'm just going to try to take the 2 pieces and reasonably stick them together. It is not a totally seamless repair, but it's pretty darn close. So, now that you can see it better, there is the 2 straps put together. It's pretty decent looking repair there to me. It'd be hard to hammer on it. But you can see the backs are backs, fronts are fronts. I am going to find a way to punch some stitch holes in here. I think I'm probably going to use my 3mm chisels because they make smaller holes. In this other leather here, I'm not sold on it 100%, but this is probably the best way to make this repair, just because it's old leather. It's a little rougher down in there where it would have been, you know, contacting the gun constantly down in here. But I think we'll be all right. I do think we'll be okay. So, I'm just going to go ahead and dig up my 3mm chisels, figure out a good way to make this. I'm going to make sure I get a hole that comes off the top so that I make sure that I get stitching across the top this way. That way it'll stick better, or I make sure that there's something that goes over that top edge to hold it down. Same with the bottom. I'll go a little 1 hole past, just to make sure everything is stuck down good. If I can get 3 rows of stitching in there, I will. Just for that extra little reinforcement. Using the smaller chisels and the much thinner thread, you know, this is the, that's 0.5mm thread. I don't know how well you'll tell the difference there. The other is 1mm thread, so roughly half the diameter. So it's pretty thin. It is a nylon thread, so I'll be able to, you know, melt those ends in there nice. But I'll be back in a little bit. I was able to use the 3mm chisels, which are, just to give you an idea, and these are the same brand. A little idea of the difference in them. Much smaller tine, much closer spacing. So this is the 0.5mm thread, and I'm just going to stitch them up just like I would any other thing. So I don't know if you want to see me sewing. That's what I'm going to do next. I got to remember to kind of squeeze that a little bit. It's the only way I can to flatten it out a little. This is a braided thread as well, but being 0.5 millimeters, I can't get the needle to come back around through it. These are also a much smaller needle. I think these are a 004 John James. I only use John James needles. I've tried other ones, and the John James are the only ones that don't break. Matter of fact, I've got 2 packs of my regular John James needles, and I don't know. I don't know why I got 2 packs. I'll probably never go through them. There we go. There. So I'm just going to do this like I would anything else. I'm going to start at the top here and just start stitching my way down. And even these needles are a little bit big for this hole. So just like any other saddle stitch, I'm not overly concerned about, you know, getting that nice angled stitch or anything like that. I am just concerned about the integrity of the stitch itself. I know I've said before that I can't do that cross your needles fancy footwork kind of stitch like you know, they show you in those videos. Little King Goods and Claridge Leather both have some really nice stitching tutorials, but I have a hard time doing that because my hands with the arthritis and stuff that I have is it's a little more difficult. You got to remember, I'm a little older than most of these guys are, and I've probably been doing it, you know, I know I've been doing it longer than some of those guys have been doing it. Plus, I've probably, you know, led a little harder life in some respects. But it's one of those, I can't cross my needles and be able to, you know, make a successful stitch just because my hands can't work that way. So I get the same result. My stitch looks exactly the same, and I essentially do exactly the same thing. I just do it a little different. So one of these days I may do a stitching tutorial on how I do it to get the same result. Well, there is what the repair looks like afterwards. I did get 3 rows of stitching down there. I went one stitch past the end on both sides, so it looks pretty good. There's noticeable rigidity differences, and you kind of got to help it feed down in there, but it seems to be okay. I'm gonna do a little probably put a little Connolly's on the strap, the new and the old part, just to kind of moisturize that, kind of give it a little treatment there. And hopefully that is all that I can do for it. Well, that is pretty much all I can do for it. Aside from, you know, it would be like I believe I said earlier, to replace that strap completely, I would have to split the holster. It's easiest to split it on this side. There's a seam that goes right along here. I'd have to split that at least up to here, and then I'd have to take it out here so I could get it up behind this piece of leather here. It has to get behind this. Not an easy task, but it can be done. So it's a chore, but it can be done. I don't like doing that if I don't have to, and my customer didn't want to do that either. So it's a pretty cool holster. I'm digging it. It is a 1936, and I can't read the rest of it because my eyes are getting kind of old for that. And if I looked it up a little harder, I could probably get a spyglass on there and look at it. But it will work if it needs to. And I'm going to do what I can to preserve it a little bit better and make sure we get her going. But there you go. That is another 1936 Luger holster. Done and in the books. And believe it or not, I'll be having another one coming up. Another 1936 Luger holster that's different than this. And I'll have to actually make some parts for it. Stick around, we'll see that one. Y'all stay safe, God bless, and have a great weekend.